Joko Choko.
Gwang dego okwano primary mere kwene ya diegi primary school.
10-year-old Ayo Aaron is a P3 pupil at Aber Primary School. Like many of his peers, he's struggling to perfect his reading, writing and numeracy skills. His very supportive 74-year-old grandma, Atur Pilkeria, encourages him to read on, guiding him in articulating and comprehending the message in the book he borrowed from the Community Book Bank in Awelo Macquarie Community Literacy Center. The books are written in the local language by the community members themselves, so she can easily follow and ably guide young Aaron, thanks to the Community Literacy Project.
Mano mi tiro nung tia mi to kwan. Tina ri tia ye lu jo me punyu ko kan, mi tiro nung tia punyu kwan kan. An gin yo mo ya enno.
The project was initiated by the School Management Committee Associations of the primary schools in Aber and Aboke sub-counties in Oyama and Kole districts respectively, in an effort to close the literacy and numeracy gaps left behind by over 20 years of the Civil War, which shattered the entire social fabric in the region.
The SMC Association moves in all these schools to do the monitoring. And in fact, when we were doing the monitoring, we realized the level of literacy was so low because children cannot read and write. So that is why their performance was very low. We found that the most serious gap was community engagement to support the school activities as far gone since the year of insurgency in the north. Because in education, we have 3 stones. There is, number 1, there is the school. Number 2 is the parent. Number 3 is the community. But we found that the present current system is addressing only one, that is the school. The home education is left out, and even that of the community participation. That is what brought us to think of a mode or a way to bring back that third concept of the community participation that would help to address that literacy issue.
By the end of 2020, we need to see that our children pass the PLE in a good way.
With the support from World Vision Uganda, the 2-year project is piloted in the primary school catchment areas of Aber and Atura in Aber sub-county and the catchment of Agwet plus Achuribanya in Aboke sub-county in Oyama and Kole districts respectively. The project targets pupils in primary 1, 2 and 3, the fundamental primary learning stage. For effective implementation, the project employs a multi-pronged approach involving all stakeholders right from the grassroots to the local government level. The District Education Department, for example, is responsible for ensuring that all that is done within the project fits within the existing formal education framework and complements the thematic curriculum. Loro Core Primary Teachers College, through its outreach department, participates in the training of the volunteer facilitators and supervises them to ensure that they adhere to the guidelines of the Reading Club curriculum of the Community Literacy Project.
This is a new undertaking, and the Loro Core PTC carries out a number of trainings. They train the tutors. For example, the 2 tutors of Chulbanya and Aber have to be trained in what they are expected to do. And even in the college, we have got the pre-service tutors also who need to know what they are expected to do so that they can get this information to the students in the pre-service. Then we have got a materials production. These materials can be produced by the community themselves, and some of these materials can also be produced by students in the college.
All the interested community members, especially the elderly, are given the opportunity to provide educative and interesting stories and any other information relevant to learners. All this is done under the watchful eye of technocrats to ensure that the information provided and the way it is packaged conform to the guidelines and principles of the Reading Club curriculum of the Community Literacy Project.
The curriculum we develop, we customize from the thematic curriculum. The materials that the parents produce must meet the standard, the methodological issues, for example, lettering shape. It must be to the needs of the children, to the age level of the children, a lot of consideration about gender issues in education, critical issues in the community.
The Lango Language Board is also very instrumental in ensuring that all the materials created follow the approved orthography of the Lango language.
Then apart from that, people have stories here, but when you write a story, you talk of the plot. How is the plot flowing? So sometimes you're given a story and see that there is an error here that can mar the understanding of the whole story. You are then conditioned to make, not just putting the orthography, you have to make the story be what it is. So we are enriching the material in terms of content, language, comprehension, even the idea of asking a question after each and every story. We have actually introduced that in the CLP materials.
So far, over 21 titles have already been published and many others going through the preliminary stages. Selected community members from both Aber and Aboke have formed the publication team for the project. These team members are receiving capacity building in the writing of newsletter stories, typing of the new Leblango orthography, and the use of computer software to prepare locally created stories for printing. World Vision Uganda is also building the capacity of the school management committee associations to ably play their leadership role and effectively mobilize the community to support the project.
We use our expertise and our community-based nature to provide capacity building where the community structures are actually weak. We start by training a small core set that we call master trainers, who then brings and cascade the training downwards to the trainers of trainees, who eventually leads it down to the community volunteers. And we believe by doing that, our journey will be more concrete, and at the end of it all, we shall have a more sustained effort.
The project activities are built on a very strong foundation of voluntary community participation. For example, the School Management Committee, in partnership with the Parents Teachers Association and the School Management Committee Association, mobilized parents and community members within the catchment of the project's schools to contribute materials and labor for constructing the community learning centers. World Vision then offered tarpaulins for temporary roofing. The structure is modest, but good enough for the project activities in the initial stages. Since July 2014, the pupils convene and learn how to read and write for at least 90 minutes each weekend. They convene every Saturday or Sunday to interact with their reading club facilitators. The lesson is spiced with songs and games to catalyze the learning process. There are 34 community learning centers in Aber and Aboke sub-counties. Each of them has 2 volunteer facilitators, a lady and a gentleman, plus a book bank custodian who keeps all the learning materials for the center. At the end of the lesson, interested pupils borrow books to read during the week whenever they have some free time.
Better learning center ni no panga kwano book eto mandanga kwano book achala na bere nyala da pe nyo chochi dan ka binu wana go gargi wadan kele pa kan kom danga be o mi ano be learning center ni be twal dana po wel bi jon ko mata ta
The parents too use the centers. They turn up at least once every month to learn and appreciate that it's their primary role and responsibility to take their children to school, but most important, to support their children's learning. The parent awareness raising facilitators also give them the necessary tips of how to do it.
Anachala nyual, acha do me yatina, work at a book, kere chao book, me walk a book kere. Piania yo mene no ginatin don't yatimo, learning center.
I give credit to the parents because one, where this project is, they always ensure that by 8 these pupils are in the school. Then secondly, these pupils are getting encouraged to easily approach their parents, to support them towards learning. Their parents also, they are giving them time. And I have hope that this is going to improve on the performance greatly.
Community literacy is helping us to shape our schools in this way. What is got at the reading clubs sometimes is not got at the school because of the type of material used. And that's why children enjoy it. So it is a challenge to our teachers in the schools. And it's making now our school teachers to perform in the same way the reading clubs are doing, so that they attract more children at the school. And if you go to some of our schools, they have started, and we still say continue with that approach.
The volunteers are facilitated by the parents to ensure that they remain fully committed to these noble responsibilities. At the end of every month, the parents contribute food items, money, or anything they can afford, including labor, to work on the facilitators' gardens. These things are then given to the volunteer facilitators as their token of appreciation for the great work done. All these have been accomplished in the past 1 year, halfway the lifetime of the project. What then does the future hold?
We are seeing a sharpened plan in terms of how do we roll out the core community literacy interventions. We have signed a memorandum of understanding between World Vision, Loro Core PTC, then we have the School Management Committee Association, and also the Lango Language Board. We are looking at linkages. How does the School Management Committee Association feed into the outreach program of Loro Core PTC? We look on this being integrated in the teaching curriculum by the Loro Core PTC. Then also the capacity of the School Management Committee Association is being built such that they are able to stand as an institution. So if the capacity of the School Management Committee Association is built well enough, then they can be able to tap into varied funding sources other than looking at World Vision.
The Community Literacy Project is working towards democratization of the school planning process. And the parents' awareness about education should increase. And when their awareness increases, they will be able to raise pertinent issues concerning education of their children. When these issues are captured in the school development plan, then the School Management Committee and the School Management Committee Association can use them for local level advocacy and for engagement with the district leadership. And in the year to come, we are going to scale out in the whole of Oyama and Kole cluster, but we have also given guidance in the technical program for the scale out to other 4 ADPs in Chibale and 3 ADPs in Rakai. And by 2017, all ADPs implementing education will be implementing the education technical program. And in that technical program, community engagement is very, very central.
If everybody plays their role as expected, no doubt the literacy and numeracy of the children will improve, and consequently their academic performance.
Mas